What is going on, you guys? It's your girl Diana back at you with another YouTube video. Today we're going to be going over all 200 plus Pokemon that are returning to the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games. So if you're interested in seeing if any of your old friends made it into the game, then of course just keep on watching, and if you are new here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that way you're always up to date on the latest Pokemon news. And give this video a thumbs up if you are a Pokemon fan so we can push it out into the YouTube algorithm so that more people can see it. And if you would like another way to support the channel, please feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store but also all of my other socials so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. And of course, cop one of these cool sweatshirts. I've also listed a copy of Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet on my Amazon storefront if you are still looking for your own. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the returning Pokemon. Okay, so once again, I am hopping over to Cerebi because they have compiled a list of all of the Pokemon that will be available in Paldea. I'm gonna scroll past the new ones and of course go to our returning friends, and we're definitely gonna have to speed run this one because there is a lot. So we're starting off with Hoppip, Skiploom, and Jumpluff, which are all grass flying types. Moving on to Fletchling, Fletchinger, and Talonflame, with Fletchling being a normal flying type and Fletchinger and Talonflame being fire and flying. Moving along past the new Paldean Pokemon over to Houndour and Houndoom, which are both dark and fire types. We also have Yungoos and Gumshoos, which are normal types. We're getting a return of Scovet and Greedent, which are both normal types as well. We're also getting Sunkern and Sunflora, which we now have an entire gym challenge dedicated to them, which are both grass types. We also have Kricketot and Kricketune, which are both bug types, and we all know that Kricketune has one of the scariest sounding cries on the planet. We also have Scatterbug, Spupa, and Pavilion, with Scatterbug and Spupa being bug types and Pavilion being a bug flying type. We also have Combee and Vespiquen returning, both being bug flying, and remember, only the female Combees can evolve. We also see the return of Rookidee, Corpsevire, and Corviknight, which are flying and flying for Rookidee and Corpsevire, and Flying Steel for Corviknight. We'll also be getting Happiny, Chansey, and Blissey, all of which are normal types. Azurill, Marill, and Azumarill will all be returning as well, with Azurill being the only odd one out, being normal fairy, and Marill and Azumarill being water fairy. Surskit will be making a return as well, which is bug and water, and Masquerain will be making an appearance as well, which is bug flying. We will also be getting our boys Buizel and Floatzel back, which are both pure water type. I literally caught a shiny Buizel the other day for a video. And moving along past our new Paldean variants, we have Psyduck and Golduck also making an appearance, which are both pure water types. We also have Choodle and Dreadnought, with Choodle being a pure water type and Dreadnought being a rock water type. We also have Igglybuff, Jigglypuff, and Wigglytuff, which are all normal fairy. You'll be seeing Ralts, Kirlia, and Gardevoir/Gallade as well, with all of them being psychic fairy with the exception of Gallade, which is psychic and fighting. We will also be getting a paradox form of Gallade/Gardevoir as well, so something to look forward to in the games. Drowsy and Hypno will also be making an appearance, which are both psychic types. We are of course getting the entire Ghastly line, so we get Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar all being Poison Ghost, and we of course need to get the Pikachu line as well, so we have Pichu, Pikachu, and Raichu, which are all pure electric types. Slackoth will also be making a reappearance, as well as Vigoroth and Slaking, which are all normal types. Bonsweet, Steenie, and Tesserina are also making an appearance as well, which are all grass types. By the way, if I am mispronouncing any of these names, you guys already know I probably am. Do not come for me. I am trying, okay? Some of these names are weird. We are also seeing the return of Bonsly and Sudowoodo, which are both pure rock types. Speaking of rock types, we're also getting Rockruff and Lycanroc, which are of course also rock types. We will also be seeing Roly-Poly, Carkol, and Colossal, with Roly-Poly being a rock type and its evolutions of course being a rock and fire. Shinx will also be making an appearance, as well as Luxio and Luxray, which are all pure electric types. We're also getting, of course, Starly, because what Pokemon game would be complete without a bunch of Starlies coming after you? And of course, its evolutions Staravia and Staraptor, which are all normal flying types. Oricorio will also be in this game, which is a fire flying type. We are also getting Mareep, Flaffy, and Ampharos, which are all pure electric. Petalil and Lilligant are also returning, which are both pure grass types. Shroomish and Breloom will also be returning as well, with Shroomish being a grass type and Breloom being grass and fighting. I mentioned this in another video, but we will be getting Applin in this game as well, which is a grass dragon type, which can of course evolve into either Flapple or Appleton, which are both also grass dragon types. Spoink will be in the game, as well as Grumpig, which are both psychic types, and we are also getting Misdreavus and Mismagius, which are both pure ghost types. And we will also be getting a paradox form of Misdreavus. Makuhita and Hariyama are also making an appearance, which are both fighting types, and we're also getting a paradox form of Hariyama. Crabrawler and Crabominal will also be in the game as well, with Crabrawler being a pure fighting type and Crabominal being fighting and ice. Salandit and Salazzle will also be making an appearance, with both being poison and fire. We're also getting Phanpy and Donphan, which are both pure ground types, and we are getting 2 paradox forms of Donphans, which are also going to be some of the titans that you fight. Kufant and Capraja will also be making an appearance as well, which are both pure steel types, and someone please let me know how you actually pronounce those names because I'm sure I butchered them. We are seeing Best Boy, Gible, Gabite, and Garchomp making an appearance as well, which are all ground and dragon type. Of course, we gotta throw a Wingull in there, which is flying and water, and its evolution Pelipper, which is also flying and water. And a game would not be complete without some Magikarps flopping around using Splash. So we have Magikarp, which is a pure water type, which of course evolves into Gyarados, which is a water flying type. Aerocuda, Barrowscuda, and Basculin will also be making an appearance as well, which are all pure water types. We are also getting the return of Gulpin and Swalot, which are poison types. Meowth will be in this game as well as Persian, which are both normal types. Drifloon and Drifblim will also be making an appearance, which are both ghost and flying. Flabébé, Floette, and Florges will also be making an appearance, all being fairy types. Diglett and Dugtrio will also be in the game as well, which are pure ground types, and they are actually getting a convergent evolution out of Wiglet and Wugtrio. Torkoal will also be in this game as well, which is a pure fire type. Numel and Camerupt will also be making an appearance, which are both fire and ground, as well as Bronzor and Bronzong, which are both steel psychic types, which will be of importance if you are trying to evolve your Charcadet into Armarouge in Pokemon Scarlet. Axew, Fracture, and Haxorus will all be in the game as well, which are all pure dragon types. Mankey and Primeape are also going to be in the game, and Primeape is actually getting a new evolution in this gen called Annihilate, but Mankey and Primeape are of course pure fighting types. Meditite and Medicham will also be in the game as well, which are both fighting and psychic types, and of course the fan favorites Bryolu and Lucario will be in the game as well, with Bryolu being a pure fighting type and Lucario being a fighting steel type. Barboach and Wishcash will also be in the game, with them both being water and ground types. One of my favorite pseudos will also be making a reappearance, which is Goomy, Sliggoo, and Goodra, which are all pure dragon types. Croagunk and Toxicroak will also be returning, both being poison and fighting types. And I would have been very upset if this didn't happen, but I doubt this would never happen. The entire Eevee and Evolution line will also be in the game, with Eevee of course being a normal type, Vaporeon being water, Jolteon being electric, Flareon being fire, Espeon being psychic, Umbreon being dark, Leafeon being grass, Glaceon being ice, Sylveon being fairy. They are all monotypes, which I think is kind of cool. Dunsparce will also be making an appearance, and it is of course a normal type. It does get an evolution in this gen that I think is kind of lazy, but you know. Deerling and Sawsbuck will also be in the game as well, both being normal grass types, and Girafarig of course will make an appearance, which is a normal psychic type, which gets a new evolution this gen, which is definitely going on my team. We are also getting Grimer and Muck, which are pure poison types, as well as Toxel and Toxtricity, which are both electric and poison. Not only are we getting a new Pika clone this gen, but we are also seeing the return of a few. We are getting Dedenne, which is an electric fairy type, and we also have Pachirisu, which is a pure electric type. Stantler will also be in the game, which is a pure normal type, as well as Fungus and Amoonguss, which are grass and poison. Voltorb and Electrode will also be making an appearance, both being pure electric types, as well as Magnemite and Magneton and Magnezone, which are all electric steel types. Ditto, which will definitely be transformed into another Pokemon if you are looking for it. I did make a video on that, go check it out if you're looking for a Ditto, will also be in the game, and is a pure normal type. Best Boy, Growlithe, and Barkanine, aka Arcanine, will also be in the game and are pure fire types, as well as Teddiursa and Ursaring, which are normal types. Zangoose will also be making an appearance, which is a normal type, as well as Survivor, which is a poison type. Swablu and Altaria are also in the game as well, which are some of my favorite bird Pokemon because they're adorable, with Swablu being a normal flying type and Altaria being a dragon flying type. Skidoo and Go-Go are also in the game, both being grass types, and don't underestimate these Skidoos. They're bulky. I've gone up against a few trainers that have them, and they took a lot longer to take out than I thought. Then again, it was very early game and I was very underleveled. Tauros is also in this game, but it is a variant and it is a fighting type. You will also find Litleo and Pyroar roaming around, which are both fire normal types. Stunky and Stuntank will also be making an appearance, both being poison dark types. Some of my favorites, Zorua and Zoroark, will also be in the game, which are both dark type. Zorua will be transformed as well, similar similarly to Ditto, so it will be a little bit tougher to find it. Sneasel and Weavile are also in the game, both being dark ice types. Murkrow and Honchkrow will also be available, which are both dark flying types. Gothita, Gothorita, and Gothel will also be in the game, all being pure psychic types. Sinistea and Poltegeist, both being pure ghost types, will also be making an appearance, and they will be important if you are trying to evolve your Targeted into Cerulege in Pokemon Violet. Mimikyu will also be in the game, being a ghost fairy type, as well as Klefki, which is a steel fairy type. Indeedee will also be in the game, which is a psychic normal type, as well as Cacnea and Cacturne, with Cacnea being a pure grass type and Cacturne being a grass dark type. Venonat and Venomoth will also be in the game as well, both being bug poison, as well as Pineco, which is a pure bug type. Fortress will also be available, which is a bug steel type, as well as Scyther and Scizor, with Scyther being a bug flying type and Scizor being a bug steel type. Heracross will also be available, which is bug fighting, as well as Hippopotas and Hippodon, which are both ground types. And Sandile, Krokorok, and Crocodile will also be available, all being ground dark types. Silcara and Sandaconda will also be in the game as well, both being ground types, as well as Mudbray and Mudsdale, which are both ground types as well. Larvesta and Volcarona will also be available, both being bug fire types, as well as another fan favorite pseudo-legendary, since Bagon, Shelgon, and Salamence will all be in the game as well, with Bagon and Shelgon being dragon types, and Salamence being a dragon flying type. Salamence will be a version exclusive though, so definitely check out my version exclusive video. Hatina, Hatterene, and Hattern will also be making an appearance as well, with Hatina and Hatterene being psychic types and Hattern being psychic fairy. Impidimp, Morgrem, and Grimmsnarl will also be in the game as well, all being dark fairy types. Sableye will also be making an appearance, being a dark ghost type, as well as Shuppet and Banette, which are both pure ghost types. Phalanx will also be in the game, which is a fighting type, as well as Hawlucha, which is a flying and fighting type. Spiritomb will also be available, being a ghost dark type, as well as Noibat and Noivern, both being flying dragon types. Dreepy, Drokelock, and Dragapult will also be available, one of my favorite pseudo-legendaries, which are all dragon ghost types. Rotom will be available as well as an electric ghost type, as well as Oranguru being a normal psychic type, and Passamane being a fighting type. Komala will also be in the game as a pure normal type, as well as the entire Larvitar line, so Larvitar, Pupitar, and Tyranitar, with Larvitar and Pupitar being rock ground types, and Tyranitar being rock dark, which is also another version exclusive. Stonjourner will also be available, which is a rock type, another version exclusive, as well as Askew, which is a pure ice type and another version exclusive. Pinkerchin will also be available, which is a pure electric type, as well as Sandygast and Palossand, which are both ghost ground types. Slowpoke, Slowbro, and Slowking will also be available, all being water psychic types, as well as Shellos and Gastrodon, with Shellos being a pure water type and Gastrodon being a water ground type. Shelter and Cloyster will also be available, with Shelter being a pure water type and Cloyster being a water ice type. Quillfish will be available as well, which is a water poison type, as well as Luvdisc. Who uses a Luvdisc? Which is a pure water type. Finneon and Luminion will also be available. Another Pokemon that I have no idea who uses, are both pure water types and will be available as well. As well as Bruxish, which is a water psychic type, and Alomomola, which is a pure water type. As well as Skrelp and Dragalge, which is yet another name that I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing, but Skrelp is a poison water type and Dragalge is a poison dragon type. Clauncher and Clawitzer will also be available, being pure water type, as well as Tynamo, Electric, and Electros, which are all pure electric types. You will also be available to get Mareanie and Toxapex, the bane of my existence, which are both poison and water types. Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite will also be available, with Dratini and Dragonair being pure dragon types and Dragonite being a dragon flying type. You will also be able to get Snom and Frostmoth, which are both ice bug types, as well as Snowbur and Abomasnow, which are grass ice types. Delibird will also be available, being an ice flying type, as well as Cupchew and Beartic, which are both pure ice types. Snorunt, Glalie, and Frostlass are also in this game, with Snorunt and Glalie being ice types and Frostlass being ice ghost. Cryogonal will also be in the game as well as a pure ice type, as well as Bergmite and Avalugg, which are also pure ice types. Rufflet and Braviary are also in the game, being normal feline types, as well as Pawniard and Bisharp, which are both dark steel, and they are getting a new evolution this gen as well. And lastly, Dino, Zvelius, and Hydreigon are all going to be in the game as well, all being dark dragon types. this. But there you have it. That is all 200 plus returning Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Comment down below if some of your favorites made it into the game. And do not despair, there will probably be a DLC where more Pokemon will be available if your favorites did not make the cut. Not to mention that Pokemon Home compatibility will be available early next year as well, so you can always transfer your Pokemon from your older games into your newer games. But that is going to wrap up this video for me. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye!